It's going to be a hangover season with no Pep. I think they'll struggle.
Liverpool. I would be surprised if they made the top four.
The way they finished under Carrick was they were the second best team in the country for that period, probably.
Interesting.
Why not do it again?
Hello and welcome to the Game Football Podcast from the Times and Sunday Times. We've made it, team, from one of the most remarkable seasons to the start of a new campaign via the biggest World Cup in history. The 2026-27 Premier League season is here. Enough talk. Time for action. Well, actually, let's do a bit more talking first, shall we? On today's episode, we will complete our run of preview shows by answering all the big questions and making some bold predictions and wishes too. I'm Tom Clarke, and joining me for all of that, we have the chief football correspondent for the Times and Sunday Times and the football journalist of the year. It's Johnny Northcroft. The former footballer who played for Chelsea, Aston Villa and Marseille, it's Tony Cascarino. And the former footballer turned journalist, Gregor Robertson, is with me as usual. Team, we're here. Gregor's got a blazer on.
Yeah.
It's normally quite chilly in here, Tom.
No, I thought you were doing it because it's the kind of formality of the season.
It's very American. I've had 10 weeks in America and they're all like that when they do TV.
But really smart.
Yeah. Blazers, ties.
Trying to get on
Good
CBS and ESPN.
I'm doing my best, you know, yeah.
Trying looking for a deadline day move. You're not allowed. Banned.
ESPN.
Banned. Yeah, exactly. It's a worry, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah.
He's got that about him. He's looking elsewhere. Now we're in our big fancy studio. Johnny, you're back.
Yeah.
So lovely to be with you again. Last time we were chatting, you were in a Korean restaurant in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It was the World Cup. Things were
right.
special. You had a lovely break, and now you're refreshed for the new season?
Ready to go again, I kind of think. Yeah, it's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah,
Four-
it is
4
a long
weeks.
time ago. Yeah. Tone, nice to see you again.
Yeah,
Sick of the silence.
that's it.
Anyway,
Move on, Tom.
let's get stuck straight in. What we're going to do, we're going to frame this show. We're going to try and cover all the biggest questions as the Premier League season kicks off. We're going to do a couple of quick fire questions and then pick up themes and strands as we go. So I wanted to start with 3 quick fire questions. Just your answers. We'll go round and then we'll come back and actually just maybe see who's got the most interesting answers. So, who is going to win the Premier League? Tony Cascarino.
Arsenal.
Johnny?
Arsenal.
Gregor?
Arsenal.
Boring. It's going to be Man City. That's who's going to win the Premier League. Who will be the rest of the top 4? Therefore, I am going to say the rest of the top 4 is going to be Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Gregor, rest of the top 4?
Manchester United, Chelsea, Manchester City.
In that order?
Yes.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Johnny?
Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United.
Oh, this is working out very well already. Tone?
Arsenal, obviously, first.
Yeah.
Then I'd go City,
Yeah.
Liverpool, and Villa.
Villa?
Whoa.
Well, I'm going to have to stop us there. I don't think I can even get to top scorer. We've already had some really bold takes in there. I don't know who's got the boldest. Right, so I've got Tottenham 4th. You've got Villa 4th, Tony.
Yeah.
Gregor's got Man United 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I've got City outside the top 4.
You've got City outside the
I've
top
got
4.
Liverpool outside the top 4.
You've got Liverpool in the top 4.
Yeah.
Do you know what? City outside the top 4 is borderline crackers, actually, Johnny, I think. Explain it to me.
They've lost a guy called Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, but they've got Erling Haaland and all the rest of them.
But he won't get the ball because Enzo Maresca will have them passing sideways and back and he'll be waiting in the box again. I'm not sure about the fit between Maresca and the squad as it's evolved. A Guardiola squad from 2 or 3 years ago, yeah, but Pep had evolved towards a much more sort of direct, dynamic way of playing, getting the ball earlier to Haaland, trying to transition more quickly. And I think Enzo will try and take them back. He'll try and take them back to much more measured positional model. And it's going to be a hangover season with no Pep. I think they'll struggle.
Even with a manager who has been in the Premier League and was doing quite well with Chelsea in the Premier League at different points, and with all that, you think it is a season of transition, but it will be a difficult season of transition. Because that's quite, with all the change going on, for City to be outside the top 4 would be pretty seismic.
It would, when you think of the money that they've already spent on Anderson. And Enzo's a good coach, but he's got a very, very deliberate, very ingrained style of play, which I think he will work at implementing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the fans will particularly enjoy it while it's, waiting to come to fruition. They've lost Rodri, Bernardo Silva. We just know from United losing Fergie, from Arsenal sort of post-Wenger era. Yes, there was the Liverpool example of Slot replacing Klopp, but I think it was a different scenario. You can't bounce back immediately from losing someone like Pep.
See, because my reasoning for picking them as title winners is partly to be a contrarian, but also because well, Alisson's not here, but also because I think it could be an Arne Slot at Liverpool, but with an even better squad. That I think keep it simple. You've got all those brilliant players. You've got players like Gay and Semenyo who came in and had half a season.
That's two big players. Rodri and Bernardo Silva's
absolutely
huge.
No doubt. The Rodri thing does knock it back a little bit, but I've been saying it for a while. So, in this modern world of doubling down, I'm going to stick with it. Guys, what do you think about Johnny's point, though? Gregor, Tony, about the idea that it'll be such change that City could finish fifth? If you got them fifth, then I assume.
I think I have. Yeah.
Gregor?
Yeah, well, I've got them fourth. Yeah, like I was picking between them and Liverpool, and we'll come to Liverpool, but I agree with Johnny. Like Pep Guardiola's the foremost coach of our generation. And it would be pretty remarkable if they kind of just smoothly rode that out, his departure after a decade, basically. And then I think they took a big step backwards last year. I mean, we saw them flicker and maybe they're going to, become consistent again, and we see like a proper Manchester City team, but I think they took a step backwards last year. And I think over a number of years, they've lost, as I've said in previous shows, the serial winners. They don't have that core of serial winners anymore. So I think all those things combined are going to make for a bit of a choppy season.
Tony? Because you've got them second.
Yeah, look, they've still got Erling Haaland who will get lots of goals.
Yeah.
I like Doku. I like Semenyo. I like a lot of the players at City. I mean, Elliot Anderson's an interesting one coming in. Not sure about their keeper, never have been. I thought he had an amazing year with PSG when they won the Champions League. But he hasn't got that even close to that level.
He started well at City, didn't he? And everyone was like, this is a genius move. They've changed tactic. But maybe he showed a few signs towards the end of the season that he's not quite...
whatever we say, losing a manager of the calibre of Pep Guardiola is a hit to a football club. This isn't a guy that's been sacked. This is a guy that's actually walked away. And Maresca has got a great squad still. Yeah. And I still think they'll be competitive. We can look at the Community Shield and say, it's only the Community Shield. But it was a really weird performance. It didn't even look close to what City are about. And I know it's the week before the season starts, and it's a competition that doesn't really give any guidance to whether anyone's going to win the league. But the way they were beaten, Arsenal were like that.
Yeah.
It was, wow. They've not just been beaten 1-0 or they just didn't lay a glove on Arsenal.
Yeah. Just to finish on City, Johnny, that idea that they've got such a strong squad, you don't think that would be enough to lift them up in this season of a lot of change? Because we're going to talk about a lot of these other clubs. Yeah. And some of the points you're making about City could be applicable to Liverpool. Yep. They could be applicable to Chelsea, who a lot of people are tipping. Kind of applicable to Manchester United, even though Carrick's not new. There's still a lot of change and they've got Champions League again. So do you think Pep is such a loss that despite the talent, it's still, the cream won't rise to the top?
I do. I mean, look, the caveat is doing this exercise is dead easy to put Arsenal first. And then you're just looking at, as you say, Tom, there's so many questions about all the other ones. So yeah, you could say that others are in transition too. I just think they're making the biggest transition. And just to touch on what I said before, funny as it sounds, the squad doesn't necessarily fit at this point in time, the manager. Now, we're doing this before the window.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks to go. They could rectify things, particularly in midfield.
Yeah.
But if you take Donnarumma, Enzo will want to play out.
Yes.
They've been better with James Trafford.
Pete Rutzler was making this point on Monday, yeah.
Yeah, you want to play out. Semenyo, great player, but he needs space thrown into. He needs the ball early. I don't think he's going to get that. Haaland, we saw how good he was in the World Cup, playing in a team that's more focused around him. And Pep moved towards that in his time at City, but I'm not sure he'll get that kind of service in a Maresca team. So, but I think their transition from Pep's bigger than anyone else's transition.
Interesting. Well, then, in terms of transition, then let's maybe bring in Liverpool then, because you had them in your top four. I've not got them in my top four. Gregor, you've just not got them in your top four. Tony, have you got them?
Yeah, I said
you've got them third. Yeah. So, why do you think what Iraola's got is not as tough? Because I think he's actually got the toughest job. As we sit here now, and maybe they might make a big signing, they might bring in a Barcola or someone like that. But as we sit here now, I actually think his job is the toughest of all of the kind of big new managerial changes. Why do you think you've got them third at the minute?
I've got them third. Look, you could swap Man City in them. Of course you could. It's so hard to know. They've got structural problems. The midfield's not quite right. It's hard to see who defends in midfield against transitions. My reasoning would be, and I think this is Liverpool's club reasoning, I'm sticking with the bet that they made on Isak and Wirtz. They've got to come good. They are the replacement for Salah. It didn't work last season, partially because of Isak's injuries. But I do think that the sort of knack that Iraola's had for getting a lot out of players at the top of the pitch, lesser players, he should be able to do a lot more with Isak and Wirtz. The only caveat to that is, can either of them press in the way that he's going to want to? Probably not. So he's going to have to do something a little bit different. But I trust he's a brilliant manager, Iraola, and I trust that bet on those two talents will pay off this season.
Gregor, not in your top four.
No.
Why?
Well, they won 60 points last year. They snuck into the Champions League in 5th place. They were a long way short, and they've not done a great deal. Jeremy Jacquet, he was signed in January. He's coming in after injury, and looks like he might have to play at the weekend. Had a really good game in the last pre-season friendly. Munoz on the wing, but I think he's more on the left wing. They've got a big hole on the right. Not really sure. Ingamo's maybe going to have to play on the right.
Right, yeah.
They brought in Araujo from Barcelona because centre-half was a big issue last season, and even more so now Konaté's left. And Araujo's been someone who, he's played a high line with Barca under Flick, but he's had a bit of an up and down time as well. Getting him on a loan from Barcelona is a bit of an odd one, really.
Yeah, could be a few red cards.
Well, yeah. And I still got big question marks about their fullbacks. I know Clarke has played for Iraola at Bournemouth, but he didn't have a great game last year. Frimpong on the right, defensively, not sure. Conor Bradley can't stay fit. There's big holes. The midfield's, again, like Gravenberch, you could see fitting and being someone who's Iraola's someone who's often turned people into midfielders you maybe thought wouldn't be. That kind of happened with Gravenberch already. Yeah. And, you can play like as a number 8 when really you're a bit more of an attacker, as long as you're willing to do the other side of the game. I just don't see enough players with a profile that will meet his demands. And then there's the step up for Iraola. He's a really nice guy. He's coming from Little Bournemouth, kind of family club, and, a team around him that's such a kind of family ethos, to managing Liverpool, one of the biggest clubs on the planet, in a difficult time. I would be surprised if they made the top 4.
Tony, you've got faith in Andoni Iraola, is that right?
Yeah, well, I have. I've spoke about him a lot. Just on the closing down and pressing and playing that high tempo, he positions his players already at the start of that. So they're not running big distances to get there. He puts his players high up. Yeah. I saw that with Bournemouth on numerous occasions. The one thing that I straight away was like, he's setting his stamp literally on the team to go, you're in there, you're ready there. Yeah. You're not going to be suddenly, it's there, I'll get there. His players will already be there. Munoz is an interesting one because I've seen him play central midfield. And he's got legs. He can get around. We've not even mentioned Szoboszlai, who was easily Liverpool's best player last year. Yeah. So I'm a lot more optimistic than, it will be tricky. Do I think they'll win the league or challenge for the league? No, I don't. Yeah. I don't think. But I think they're well capable. Last season was an incredible drop-off by Liverpool. And the right side is an issue of the team. It definitely is. Conor Bradley, Salah, that has come at a problem. But I'm still think there's... The two reasons if Liverpool go really well is going to be the two his big signings. Yeah. Now, Wirtz and Isak cannot be injured all year or indifferent. And I'm more interested about Wirtz than Isak because we know what he can do. Wirtz, to me, got I thought he got way too flicky. Yeah. There's too many flicks all the time when he was playing.
Needs purpose.
Well, but he is technically very gifted. Yeah. But keep flicking the ball, and when you lose it, it's a cavalry charge to get back. Yeah. He can't do that in Andoni Iraola's team. Yeah. Because that'll cost him dearly.
Yeah, really interesting. Johnny, I'm going to let you choose where we go next. Which is the bigger shout? Tony saying Aston Villa are still going to get in the top 4, or Gregor saying Man United are going to finish second?
Nah, it's got to be Villa.
Really?
Yeah. I almost had United second as well.
Interesting. So. Tony, you've got faith in Unai Emery?
No, I said I was concerned a couple of weeks ago, and I said I want to see when we get to the end of the window where Villa are, or when we're getting closer to it. But I do think he's such an exceptional coach that when I see his teams and the way that they could lose Ollie Watkins, he could be gone.
Konza's on his way.
They're going to buy.
Yeah.
Villa are going to go in again. They're going to go and buy. Whether it's Nicholas Jackson comes to the football club, and is he better than a lot of people wouldn't say he's better than Ollie Watkins, but he plays what he wants to do. He loves a runner. He wants to stretch teams all the time. And I'll touch on another player a bit later because we're talking about a player that's going to excite you.
Yeah.
I think Villa are a side that don't give that much away.
Interesting. Man United second then, Gregor. That's a hell of a shout. I'm sorry. Man United, I think they could be great and I'm really excited to see them. But my justification for the rest of it, by the way, just very quickly on mine, is that it'll be City and Arsenal again at the top, and then it'll be chaos below. And that we'll be 3 weeks out and it could be any of them. And I think Chelsea and Tottenham, with no European football, will sneak in with the tiredness, etc.,
It's a big thing. And obviously Manchester United do have Champions League football again. The return is going to be a big challenge. I think you just look at the evidence of what occurred under Michael Carrick from almost immediately once he got the job and how many points they collected. They were one of the best teams in the country. And there are players that have to stay fit. I think they'll do more business. I think Tielemans is a great signing. I think he'll fit in brilliantly. Santos, not entirely sure about, and it was a very peculiar fee.
Yeah. Baleba,
Tony and I were speaking about beforehand. I think he's exciting. He's so dynamic and athletic, and he's technically good as well. He's just had a really indifferent, certainly last season, but even the season before, he was inconsistent. But there's a force of nature there in that player, and they obviously believe that he's someone who can produce it on a more consistent basis. So, they could do a striker, maybe even another centre half. But I don't know. Actually, part of it is the same reason that I'm just tapping in Arsenal for the title. I look at everyone else and I feel this is a peculiar thing to say about Manchester United after the last decade. I feel they're a bit more tranquil than the rest. Yeah. I feel like they're a bit more steady, exactly, and there's composure there now.
I was trying to list, pluses and minuses of each of these teams, and stability was the first thing I put beside United because I haven't had that. And I was thinking about them second, and it's only the question mark of going into the Champions League. Carrick hasn't done that. The squad is still being built, and that's stretching them. But they've got a lot at the top of the pitch now. Yeah. Marcus Rashford's back.
Yeah.
Now, he's one of the most dangerous players in the world. He's not one of the most consistent players in the world, but he's electric. Let's not forget how good he was in flashes for Barcelona, for Aston Villa, for England, outside of that United context, and before the slump he had at United. He could be a great asset. They do need another striker. I'd agree with that. Long term, I think the defence needs surgery. I kind of like the logic of they spent last summer, let's sort out the top of the pitch. Now let's do the midfield, and I'd expect next summer they'll do the defence. There's a plan and there's a logic. They could do with spending more money, of course, but as you say, the way they finished under Carrick was they were the second best team in the country for that period, probably.
Interesting.
Why not do it again?
Tone on Man United.
Well, I feel you could put a blanket over about 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah.
That you'd go, which one actually edged out? There is a lot to like about United. Most, Cunha settled in, and Mbeumo gets goals. Sesko, can he play more for United this year?
I would hope so. I think he could be.
He will get goals.
Really good striker, yeah.
And it looked like he started to settle in at times. So there were some really good things about United. And just on the Belieber one, me and Greg were sat watching him. This was a Brighton against Ipswich probably nearly 2 years ago. Yeah.
First game.
We're both chatting him. And so, like Gregor said, he's that force that he plays with. It's whether how reckless he'll be, because sometimes he loses the ball and he goes flying in. And you're thinking, you can't.
Yeah. Johnny, just to wrap us up then, thoughts on Chelsea and Tottenham from you? They're two clubs we've discussed a lot amongst ourselves before you. I've got them in there. Alisson's got Chelsea challenging for the title.
Yeah.
A lot of people quite excited about Tottenham and Roberto De Zerbi, particularly news today that Paul Hurst reporting they're going for Marmoush and Savino, potentially.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Chelsea and Tottenham from you?
I'll start quickly with Spurs. I mean, I think there's always a team that do a lot of business in the transfer window and everyone gets massively excited about them. Quite often it's Spurs, right? And it doesn't work out the way people think it's going to. Yeah. Now, it might sound a bit harsh. I think they've made a whole, with the exception of Tonali, who I think is top class, I think they've made a whole lot of like really good players, but none of them are actually fantastic players.
You don't think any of the, Van Hecker, Fernandez were like really top players?
No, I don't think they're players that go into the first team of other big six
rivals,
clubs, right? Tonali would. I think Savino and Marmoush would come into the same category. De Zerbi's fantastic, but they're starting from such a low base.
Yeah.
And look, it wouldn't surprise me if Spurs were actually in the top 2 in November. And we're getting excited. Yeah. They're doing what they did under Ange. But I think they might just fall away.
Where do you think then for them?
I'd say
6,
7, 8.
6, 7.
No, I think they'll be
16.
6 or 7. They'll be brilliant to watch. Chelsea. When you write down the first teams of the big sides, they've got a really talented football team there. Yeah. And Xabi Alonso is a very, very talented coach. So I think that the couple of questions would be how, does he change formation? Does he go 3? How does that work? But if you think about, Rodgers, Palmer, Estevao, with João Pedro's possibly second best number 9 in the league, backed by Caicedo, and if Fernandes stays, will they bring someone else in? I like Lacroix as a signing. The goalkeeper could do with improving, but no European football. There's a lot to say that they'll have a really good season.
So where have you got Chelsea? You've got Chelsea second. Really interesting.
It's all about the culture with Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. A lot of pressure on Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck, isn't there?
The vibes have to be good.
Maybe that's just to take the pressure off Alonso.
There's going to be some big, good team curry happening in this week, hasn't there? They'll have gone out bowling or something.
There'll be a team that I think will get some real big results. It's whether they are consistent enough to get the points where they keep you running and keep you in the title. They're a really good side or a dangerous side.
I know I said this the other day, but it's all well and good bringing in guys who'll set the culture, but you still got, they won't be on the pitch much. No. So we've got to remember who's still going to be on the pitch and whether they've got experience and whether they're still going to be reckless like last year. And I'm still not sure. So, but just broadly speaking, the whole club, that's Alonso's biggest task. Yeah. He's always going to be supplied with a great squad and more players. More players. Can he change the culture?
That's true about the old players, but Danny Welbeck, you'd have him on the bench for anyone.
Yeah.
Any of the.
Well, when you were saying United needed a striker, I think every Man United fan is like, why the hell did Man United sign Danny Welbeck?
He might play a bit more than people think as well. I saw him against AC Milan and they played him and Pedro up front together, and whether he goes through a system every now and again of that, I think Welbeck might play more.
Yeah, really interesting. And brilliant job, guys. I think we managed every big team there in some kind of machination for the top 4. And of course, a top 5 could be a possibility this season for the Champions League, as it always is. A quick one. Who will be top scorer in the league? Tony Cascarino.
Well, I'm going to go for a gamble.
Go on.
I'm going Thiago.
Yes, we love it. Igor Thiago at Brentford.
Just going to give him because he takes pens, and I actually think they'll go well against Brentford.
Yeah.
And he had an indifferent end to the season, but got a lot of goals.
Yeah.
I'm not going for the obvious.
Well, I'm going to go with the obvious. I'll say Haaland. Even and I've said City will struggle a little bit, but even in a bad season, he's going to score 20 to 25 goals.
Yeah. Gregor?
Same. It's a no-brainer.
The Scots are sticking together. I'm going João Pedro for the reasons you outlined earlier, Johnny. Morgan Rogers and Cole Palmer either side of him could get a lot of goals. On that same theme then, let's do a quick look at player of the season, because we're coming to a break. We've got loads more still to discuss. Potential player of the season. Anyone got an early shout? My early shout, Martin Ødegaard.
Yeah.
Like that World Cup, Community Shield into this season. This new Martin Ødegaard. He's swapped with his evil twin from last season. He's back. The player that we always thought he could be. Arsenal fans doubting him. He's going to show everyone what could be. My other shout is Cole Palmer. Again, in the same vein. Cole Palmer back. Any other shouts for player of the season?
I think Bruno Guimaraes has a stand a chance too.
Right.
Because, I describe Mbeleba as a force of nature. I think he's a bit of a force of nature. He does everything. He's all action. He's he relishes the defensive side of the game. He's creative. He can play those incisive forward passes. And now he's playing for the best team in the country. So if he can can nail down a place in the team, which is no foregone conclusion, I think he'd be in with a shout.
If Bukayo Saka stays fit, and that is a big if, I think he'll have that type of season where, class act, playing for the best team. They've got the English thing behind him, always gets you a few votes.
Yeah.
Body of work.
I wonder whether on the same theme, it could be Declan Rice on the basis that Bruno Guimaraes will make him go,
perhaps, yeah.
I'm the big I am now. He is the big I am, but even more so. Tony.
David Raya. I think he's worth 10 points.
He was fantastic last season.
Well, even with that haircut he's got at the minute, that definitely loses a few points, that kind of haircut.
No, I just think he's the points ratio from games and how he played in them and the amount of times he saved them. And look, they're good defensively as well, but he did produce some unbelievable saves last year.
The only thing with Rice is, my God, the guy's been flogged for so many years now.
No, he's going to play 95 games this season. He's going to go on loan to someone and play a couple of games, in an international break or something.
He was absolutely knackered, dead on his feet at the end of the World Cup.
Really was.
You can't imagine that he's going to be starting straight from the off. And Saka, you'd love him to be fit, but I think he's got a bit of a chronic problem in his Achilles. So, good luck.
Really interesting. Loads and loads more still to discuss in part 2. We'll be talking about the bottom of the table, some surprise packages as well, and some of the exciting talent that's come to the Premier League. But it's time for a quick break. So it's time for a quiz question. Gregor Robertson, maybe that's why he's got his jacket on. He's feeling all formal to make sure he gets the answer right to this one. This is Coventry City's first Premier League campaign since 2000-2001. They started that season with a 3-1 defeat against Middlesbrough. Which famous striker scored twice for Borough on his debut that day? Find out after the break. Welcome back to the Game Football Podcast from the Times and Sunday Times. I'm Tom Clarke and I've got Tony Cascarino, Johnny Northcroft and Gregor Robertson with me. It's good teamwork on the answer to the quiz question today. Lots of good, legitimate answers. And then we eventually got the correct answer from Johnny Northcroft. That is why he's the football journalist of the year. Forget the exclusives, forget the big interviews, forget the England coverage. This is why, because the famous Borough striker who scored twice against Coventry was
Alan Boxic.
Alan Boxic. Very, very good. Well done to any of you listeners who got that as well. Thanks to also the listeners and the readers who got in touch with me after my football newsletter on Monday, talking about my pain and heartache and quandary as to whether or not I should do fantasy football this season. I've still not decided. Alison Rudd is quitting, which is great news for you, Johnny Northcroft, because she always beats you, apparently.
She beats me every year. We're kind of like Brighton and Bournemouth, and she's Brighton.
She always gets the Conference League, does she? And then leaves you in 9th or something like that. But you have done it this year.
I did it last night,
Going for the pain once again.
Took ages. And Haaland costs about £1 million, 100 billion quid.
Yeah.
Nobody else is worth buying. So
I've got to say, I'm skewing, not bothering. If any of my mates are listening to this, they've got about 24 hours to get me to change my mind. Let's get back to the big Premier League preview, another big Premier League preview show. Who is going to be relegated? I'm going to start off with the idea that I've tried to come up with 3 teams that allow us to have what we had last season, which was 2 brilliant stories of teams staying up. And add in the caveat that my mother-in-law is a Hull City fan, so I cannot put them in the bottom 3, okay? Just bear in mind. My bottom 3, Fulham, Palace, Ipswich.
Oh,
like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with a way in which...
Have a conversation.
in which we can't just say, they're all 3 going back down again. Because that feels like the murmurings of what everyone thinks.
It's the default position every year now.
But
that's sad, but it's true.
Even with last season, with what Sunderland did, even with what Leeds did, because there are 2 very different stories. That's the thing. Sunderland were, oh my God, no one saw that coming. But Leeds were an incremental. I remember our shows, every week we'd be like, oh, our Leeds.
Hold it.
Our Leeds.
Like this time last year, a lot of people went for Brentford.
Going down.
Yeah. Lots of people put Brentford in their bottom 3.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, but even you see the stature of Leeds as a football club, and you think they should belong in the Premier League. A lot of people thought it doesn't matter anymore. They're still likely to go back down, and it looked that way until they changed formation as the Man City game.
So come on then, let's go back to the format. Who's your bottom 3s, just quickly? Tony.
I'm going Hull City.
Yeah.
Fulham.
Yeah.
And a brave one, Newcastle.
Whoa.
I just think Eddie Howe syndrome and all what's gone on there. End of season form last year. Yes, they've made signings, but I'm not sure at all Newcastle are in the right way.
The takes are
But it's a brave one. It's a
They're
brave
flying
one.
in. Gregor?
I mean, it really pains me to say it.
Don't do it, man.
I'm saying the 3.
Come on.
Co-host of our new weekly EFL show.
What's the point of the show?
You've forgotten your roots, man.
Anti-EFL.
You've forgotten your roots, man.
I
can't wait to read your piece that I've commissioned from you later
yeah.
as to why the 3 teams can stay up. He's doing a tactical analysis. Conclusion, they can't.
I'll start with Leeds and Sunderland, because what Sunderland did was extraordinary. They spent more money than any promoted team ever has. Started from an extremely low base, because they stumbled into the playoffs, won the playoff final in the last minute. Spent a lot of money really well, largely in France. They had a smart recruitment team. I'm not sure these 3 teams can replicate that.
Right.
Well, Ipswich are spending as much.
Leeds came up and they had a very clear plan. We're going to sign the land of the giants.
Yeah.
We're going to go for physicality, set piece strength, all these types of things.
And a fantastic manager.
And they do have a fantastic manager, but even he changed his principles a little bit.
Yeah,
he didn't play the kind of football I think he'll want his team to see. So again, are they good? The promoted trio are looking for physicality. They're recognising that we need to be stronger and faster and fitter. So I get that. And yes, Ipswich, I think they've evolved. I think they'll be far more competitive than last time. They're approaching Sunderland's transfer spend. Like they're at 150 million now. They've got a new 30 million pound training ground. They're instead of just signing all the best players in the Championship, they've cast their net far wider. I like Gary O'Neill. There are a lot of positives, but I still can't ultimately pick the team that they finish above.
Okay, Johnny, who's your bottom 3?
So I'm going to have Ipswich staying up just on, and it is about, do the signings come good or not? And I'd be lying if I look at them and know too much about them, right? But I do rate Gary O'Neill. I think the fact they've been there before and they understand what Sunderland did and they're trying to follow that model. I don't want to be boring, so I'm going to have one of the promoted teams staying up at least. I think Hull will go down. Sorry, mother-in-law.
I'm trying, Marge. I'm really trying, but they're not having it.
And look, I've got Fulham or Bournemouth to join them.
Bournemouth?
Yeah. They've lost so many good players. And
don't think they can regen again.
You can't keep doing it. Southampton found that. And they lost a lot of great players last season. They've lost the likes of Senesi this time. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if Iraola goes for a bit of a raid towards the end of the transfer window on Bournemouth.
Who would you just say?
Croupy and Scott, you've got to look at them too.
Croupy's out for a few months though.
Yeah. But you'd still
take him, yeah.
And Fulham, I don't.
So if 3 of us got Fulham going down, you got Tony, you've got them, and I've got them.
And look,
I think that's more of the one you can't do it again. Because Marco Silva and that squad, it was all so synonymous with working.
It's a good squad.
Yeah.
It is a good squad.
There's 220. The 2 biggest transfers are 2-year-olds. Where Gonzalez has come in.
Garcia,
Real Madrid, Garcia. And then you got the boy Shea Charles from Southampton, and they 30 million. I think it's a big ask from them. They've lost Jimenez, they lost Harry Wilson. I just don't see Fulham doing it this year.
Doing it.
If I was picking one team, it might be Palace, because they've got the Europa League football again. They've got a new manager who's actually really inexperienced as a manager, and I think their squad's thin. Yeah, and
Palace are the ones that have lost, haven't they? They've lost Gay. They lost Lacroix. Yes, they might do it again, but.
So there are a lot of uncertainties about managers and about the strength of squads in this change and transition we keep talking about. But I still look at them on paper and think, I know that they are good footballers at the level. Yeah. Like a lot of them are. And the teams that are being promoted, I'm just not sure they are as smart as some.
So just to go back, Johnny, sorry to cut. You had Fulham or Bournemouth.
Fulham or Bournemouth, because I think Cov will go down.
You think Cov will go down?
I really don't want them to. East Midlands sort of solidarity. I'd love Frank Lampard to keep them up. I just don't. They haven't done enough.
Is it East Midlands?
Let's not get into geography.
You've moved Coventry.
There's a whole different show about the Midlands.
Let's not get into geography, Tony. There's enough for us to cover.
Is it north? Is it south?
So you don't think? I think Cov could put a few names down a joint. I think Lampard is coming back with a bit of smarts about him. He showed it by getting up from the Championship in a very crowded league.
Are they going to just be Burnley?
No, I think they'll be better. I think they'll be much better than Burnley. I think they'll be really, really clever and canny. I think they could give a lot of people a game.
I think I think Coventry, one positive for them is that if you look at all the winners of the championship in recent years, they've all been dominant. Like teams who have 60% of the ball, play 600 passes, score a bucket load of goals, get 100 points. Coventry nearly got 100 points, but they were not that team. They've got a lot of different faces. They're tactically flexible. They're happy to not have the ball. They play direct. Haji Wright runs in behind. Ellis Sims. They're physical. They've got a lot of those traits. So I think they're good at set plays. They can bring all those things to the table. And I actually think they've got some of the players who could really make a step up. Jack Redoni, I think, could make a step up. I think Wright could, because he's got a lot of, he's a profile of a really kind of physical striker. Keeper Rushworth, getting him back will be their biggest signing because he's brilliant. But I look at their deals. Hamer coming back, he's
29.
Onyeka was great for them when he came on loan last season. I'm not sure in the Premier League. Awonye could be, but is he going to be? I don't know. The Urenki, the Ghana midfielder, is exciting. He's dynamic, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure about it.
Let's broaden it out and talk about some of the teams, because I wanted to mention Newcastle, because I've got them down as my surprise package. I actually think Newcastle will be strangely good in an odd way of where they've actually lost big name players. They've lost the manager. But from what I've read and what I've heard, Geisler sounds like a bright young coach who I think will benefit from these big players going, actually, in a weird way. Tonali, Guimaraes, it's clean slate. They've got a lot of players there in the same vein, in a less high echelon state as Liverpool, but Visser, Elanga, players that came in last season and didn't deliver. If he gets all of that working, I'm not saying they're going to challenge for Europe. I just think they might be quite fun to watch. If he gets St James's Park, all those cliches, I think they could be better than people are thinking. Because I think a lot of people actually agree with you, Tony, that maybe not relegation, but that he'll be under pressure early. Thoughts, Johnny?
I mean, the sheer number of top players they've lost is interesting. It's a bit like Villa, isn't it? And I do wonder, actually, if you're going to transition, you might as well do it properly and lose a clump at a time and then start again with a new group, younger group. I get that. I mean, they were a long way off. I know it's pre-season against Everton, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, last week. It's a big ask for such a young manager who has done well in Saudi, but how much?
I think they'll be slow starters. He also comes into my question of which manager could come under early season pressure. So I'm in a both things can be true category of where I think it might come good. Surprise packages then, other teams that could be a surprise package. Tony?
What, to be good?
To be good, yeah.
To be good, I think
surpringly bad. Surprisingly bad could be the way of taking the question.
I think Brentford will go well again. I think they won't ease off from what they did last year, and they were very good at what they did. And they had a number of draws in the run-in to the end of the season, which I was at a couple of them, could have won, could have easily won them. Well, I think Gregor might have been there. Was you there at Chelsea when they played Chelsea? Brentford lost 2-0?
Maybe.
I thought really well. I mean, Chelsea won, but it was like a really good performance. And Sharda is another player that I expect more from because he's still relatively young. Thiago, I think, will get goals. So I would say they would be my surprise packet to go well again.
Johnny?
I think Forest. Oliver Glasner, absolutely superb. They've still got the bones of the team that did so well a couple of seasons ago. I don't know too much about Diamande, but it sounds good, and I think they're going to move formation to 3. Morgan Gibbs-White was one of the best players in the league last season.
Absolutely agree. Can he work in a Glasner team?
Yeah, of course he can. Yeah. Maybe a bit light up front. Chris Wood's got to stay fit, but yeah, why not?
Their system's good for the two wing backs as well, whether it's Nico Williams.
I know. Gregor, surprise package.
Leeds. I think their evolution. I said it before. They went from a team that looked like relegation fodder to one that was really hard to beat to one that actually were playing with a lot of confidence and were good fun to watch at the end of the season. And I don't see why that journey should not continue. Trafford in goal, big signing, signed a young Bosnia centre-half as well, who's got a really good reputation. I still think they'll be hard to beat. I think we'll continue to see them evolve as a team with the ball. Yeah. Still a lot on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They need another striker, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the teams competing for Europe.
Is there any move made more for Liam Delap than a loan move to Leeds United this season? I mean, honestly. Or Everton.
Everton.
Yeah, one of the two, isn't it? It's got to happen. Very quickly on this one, because there's I want to get into some players maybe as well. Just a quick one. I mentioned it as well. And we kind of talked about some pressure that some of the big managers will feel. But which manager do you think will be zoned in on early on if they don't start? And it's funny, we asked a lot of these questions to our writers, a lot of writers who aren't here, part of the piece. Paul Joyce gave a brilliant answer and said, "We turn it round. Which manager won't be under pressure in this modern age of football?" Which I think is probably a good way of looking at it. But who do you think the kind of real laser focus might fall on, Johnny, if they have a bad start?
Yeah, look, Joyce is not wrong. I mean, 9 new managers in the Prem, plus the ones that have come up.
Yeah.
And all of them are immediately under pressure. It's just the nature of the beast. You mentioned Palace earlier on. I think Sarge has got a very difficult job transitioning to English football. We've seen that a struggle for sort of French managers before, apart from Lebris, but he had the season in the Championship to warm up. I think he'll find it difficult. And one of the reasons I didn't have Palace in the relegation mix is their history of taking quick action if they don't think the season's going well.
Yeah.
So I think that puts him under threat.
Tony?
Arbeloa.
Yeah.
Look, it's a big gamble. And he's, having Real Madrid and going through the system and then coming to the Premier League and with a club that's had Marco Silva for a number of seasons, I think it's a hell of a hard job for him.
Gregor?
I've already said Iraola, but I would add Lebris, because
Interesting.
I think confronting second season syndrome in the Premier League with Europa League football for the first time in half a century is going to be a bit of a potent mix and a dangerous one. Like, clearly they had a big overhaul and they were a good team last season, done almost nothing this summer so far.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would take that much as everyone loved him and still loves him, for that, certainly in the club's eyes, to change.
For that kind of ruthless, we must go again, we'll go again, we'll go up a level, we'll do with the manager what we did with the players who got us up from the Championship. Very interesting idea. Let's talk about some new signings we're excited to see, because crikey, there's been a lot of them. Any players immediately jump into mind, Johnny, players that you're going to be hoping to see in the first few weeks?
I think a lot hangs on Yuri Tielemans, and I've written so many pieces over the years about how Manchester United never got round to fixing their midfield, never replaced Michael Carrick, never replaced Paul Scholes. All these years afterwards, they've tended to go for sort of legs or defensive, play breaker-uppers. They haven't had enough talent in midfield for me for 15 years. They haven't had enough people who can pass the ball properly, and they finally signed one. Question marks are age. Is it a little bit too late? But he's a super player. And he's a player they've needed for so many years. If they get Baleba in as well, I think that gives them, 4 young players around him to provide the legs. Yeah. Tielemans, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he goes. Tony?
I'm going to go for Yohan Manzambi.
Yes.
Villa.
Yes.
Watch him a lot. Direct, going to take people on. Will it work for him? He's still a very young man. And I expect he could deliver. And first and foremost, it's getting in the team, isn't it?
Yeah. Getting fit and getting up and running.
Well, yeah, you've got to, when you sign players, if you sign a goalkeeper, he's got to make saves early on, just for the confidence side of it and just the, winning people over. It's the same as a striker needs chances, needs to take them. If you don't take them, it becomes way more difficult. A young player getting into the team, how they perform when they get in the team.
Yeah, I love his dribbling
style. But I like his ability.
It's like barreling dribbling style as well, like barging people out of the way as well as having a brilliant touch. Gregor? New signings you're looking forward to?
Mamadou Sangare from Brentford.
Yeah.
Best part of 40 million, he's the record signing. 24. In the space of 12 months, he's gone from Rapid Vienna in Austria to Lens, who finished second in Liga with Pierre Sage, and onto the Premier League. So in the space of a year, it's a pretty rapid rise. And he's had an impressive pre-season, all action, ball winner, modern midfielder, could play 6, 8, maybe even 10, loves a shot from distance. I think it'd be quite exciting.
Do you know what makes me laugh about that transfer? 42 million. If you'd have said to me when I was playing at Griffin Park,
Me too.
and someone had said, by the way, Brentford are going to go and spend 42 million on a player one day.
Yeah. What an amazing journey.
It's just incredible that they're doing that sort of deal.
Yeah, and they'll hope it can continue. Another one in that same vein, Bouadi, if he does join Manchester City, as we believe. Yeah. So excited to see him next to Elliot Anderson, potentially in midfield. And another one, Marco Palestra at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think if I was doing fantasy football, he'd be one of those to put in the team. Pete Rutzler did a really interesting piece on him from the pre-season tour, talking about his pace, his direct running, his overlapping. I think in an Alonso team, he could be really, really fun. Young players that we're looking forward to seeing, young players of the year. One, I've got Maggio.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
At Aston Villa. What an amazing story. Signed, couldn't play, now get it over the line. Then just rock up against PSG, score a goal. Fantastic.
Out-muscle, European champions.
Again, you'd love the idea. I mean, it's so naive, isn't it? But you'd love the idea of Manzambi and Maggio just being like, look, we are the new Aston Villa. You know, I think it'd be 20 and 7.
I think Villa fans would say to you, well, Duran done a little bit of that for us when he first got in the team, so we have to calm down a bit.
Any other young players that we've got our eyes on, Johnny?
Oh, I think Rio and Gamoa will have a lot of responsibility under Iraola. He's got a great record with young players. He's going to look for pace, directness, dynamism, which Rio's got. It was really interesting watching him come into the England fold in America and immediately look better than, let's say, the likes of Madueke. And,
that was such a striking moment of the World Cup, wasn't it? The guy who's not playing, being like, oh, he's brilliant.
He's good. and you know, from what I was led to understand, Tuchel was cursing himself and thinking, really, should have had him in the 55 because then I could have promoted him. I think he could have been brought in.
Interesting.
He's ready to fly, that kid. Max Dowman obviously is the other one. The two uber talents that came forward together, but it looks like Arsenal are still going down the experience route. So I think Rio's the one this season.
See, that will be interesting for the next England squad. If he's in it,
I think
he will be probably. And then what he does with him.
Especially if he starts with, as we believe, Paul Joyce wrote a really good piece on the Times website about Gamoa. Gregor?
I mentioned already, but Caleb Jurenki for Coventry, 25 million is the record sign. He's the player they've spent the most money on from Nordjylland. Really, again, all action, physical, dynamic midfielder. So that's the kind of profile of players that a lot of the promoted teams are really trying to find. And he's looked really good. He wowed Coventry fans in their last pre-season friendly, which was a 2-0 win against Monaco. So a lot of excitement about him. Just before we finish with our wish for this new season, I just wanted to mention as well, Shea Lacey, I hope he plays a bit under Michael Carrick at Manchester United. And wouldn't it be fun if JJ Gabriel at Manchester United was this season's Max Dowman? If they had that moment running towards the Stretford end, like Max Dowman had it, I forget who it was against, but in that game, Everton, running clear, everyone on the, go on, he's going to score, he's going to score. That would be a lovely moment, I think, at Manchester United for the Stretford end to get behind a young talent. So let's finish then. I think we've just about covered it all, but I think we should finish with a wish and a hope for the new season. I've got a couple, one early one, which is a little bit silly, but I really hope that the Brennan Johnson, Dwight McNeil swap deal works. Wouldn't that be nice? I really hope it works for both of them. That would be nice. But other wishes and hopes for the new season, Johnny?
I'll add on an Everton vein, and it's biased, just having followed David Moyes' career for so long. I would love them to just give him a striker. Just give him some money to buy a proper striker. Nearly every season he's ever had at Everton, he's been at least one player short, and it's usually been the striker.
The Delap loan move, isn't it? It's the Liam Delap move.
I'd absolutely want
50 million for him.
Yeah, but it'll be a deadline loan move, won't it? Just get him off the books.
Apart from that one, just let's not see the meat wall. And we didn't see it in the Community Shield, which was great, and maybe the new enforcing of the regulations. Stopping players fouling at corner kicks is going to bring it, but it did become dull. And I know if Hamza was here, he would produce spreadsheets on how dull it was, and would totally agree. But it was unsightly. That's the right word.
Do we think?
Let's not have it back.
Because one of my other wishes for new season is that we we're still talking about corner routines and free kick routines, but that they're fun. They're fun. They're like 3 passes and a step over, and then someone way over there bangs one into the top corner.
By the way, Arsenal ended up having some really good ones because they're brilliant at set pieces. By the meat wall, just in case listeners don't know what I mean the packing of the 6-yard box with bodies and crowding the goalkeeper.
Yeah. I mean, what do people think about Johnny's hope for that one? Naive? We're going to see more of it, do we think?
I think the World Cup, that wasn't a big feature.
Yeah, and wasn't it good?
Yeah. I mean, I think they have it within their power to to clamp down on it enough and to consign it to history without having to come up with new rules and all this the panic that we were sort of came over everyone last season. So I think it's possible, and I've slight hopes that it happens.
Tony,
what would I like to see?
I
know what I'm like to see, because I think there's going to be more attacking football this season than ever.
Really?
I think apart from
what
Arsenal,
kind? Free flowing?
I just think there's going to be teams that are going to literally throw the kitchen sink. I mean, watching Chelsea under Alonso in pre-season and seeing the amount of bodies they're getting in the 18-yard box.
You mentioned do you think Arsenal will conform to that as well, or do you think? I
think they'll have a bit more because they're the most pragmatic and they got a great defensive record. But you saw in the Community Shield, they were really pushing forward at all opportunities. So I think, for me, the thing I'm really looking forward to is how many teams are literally going to go after other teams.
Really?
Yeah, because it used to be home you'd get the draw. Away you'd get the draw. It was a decent result. I don't think that stands anymore. I think there's so many more teams that go to, like Brentford did at times, and we've seen Brighton do it, Palace doing it. They're going to big clubs and actually testing them.
That would be actually
I think parking the buses he's really been on the floor.
Really?
In comparison to years gone by.
That would be another hope for me, is that we do see this new iteration of Arteta now and this freedom that I've suggested as to why Martin Odegaard could be player of the season, that we've won the title now, lads. We don't need to worry about that anymore. We can still go back, Jova come off the bench when we're 2-1 down and be like, right, lads, let's go. Gabriel, Williot, go up you go. Come on, let's get the long throws out. But actually, we see the Arsenal that a lot of the fans think they could produce.
I hope so too. They've got the players to do it. And that was Arteta's first Arsenal chance for the title. He can coach it. So it'd be nice now he's won the title to go back to it.
Gregor, your hope for the season? I think I know where you're going.
You've probably read the piece. I'm sorry, it's really on brand, but I've got to mention VAR. But just the sentence.
For anyone not watching on YouTube, Gregor has already got his head in his hands about VAR before the season starts. And this is a hope. This is a wish. This is a hope for the new season.
There's a statement I loathe more than any other in the world, is when people say, but VAR's not the problem, it's the people using it. And this is the 8th season now with it in the Premier League. And you heard Howard Webb giving an interview a couple of days ago saying, now the referees, the VAR shouldn't be getting involved in the subjective decisions. We should leave them to the on-field referee. I'm like, oh my God, we're doomed to go around in this circle of pain forevermore. So just please put it in the bin. I know that's it's a big wish for the season and a bit of a dour note to end on.
Well,
Could we add in I mean, it's a wish for not this season.
Add in a more hopeful one.
But next season, not have any rule changes at all.
Yeah.
No more regulation. Yeah. Just stay with what it is for 2 years. Just try something for 2 years instead of one.
That would
then changing those next season.
That would be a great rule across the board. No transfers, no managers, no rule changes. Just keep it for 2 whole seasons and see how you get on. That would be great fun, wouldn't it? Just on a more positive, just to bring us up slightly. Johnny, just because one of my other hopes is that Marcus Rashford, Phil Foden and Cole Palmer play really good football and play brilliantly as they can for their teams. That would be a lovely thing. These starts of the season are always a kind of 5-week lead into an international break which is going to be big for Thomas Tuchel because of how that World Cup ended. It'd be nice to see some of those big English characters playing brilliantly in the Premier League.
It really would, wouldn't it? When you think what was lacking at the World Cup and the talent that was at the sidelines, particularly Rashford and Cole Palmer, I think. Well, and all of them, Foden as well. Why not? There's 3 different personal stories there. It's always more complicated than it looks from the outside. One thing that really upsets me is when fans sort of immediately blame it on a flaw in someone's character or motivation, because knowing all of those lads a little bit, that applies to none of them. It's always more complicated, and I think they've all suffered from switches of position, switches of manager, or not finding the right position. They need stability, need good coaching. And all of them let's hope they fulfil.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah,
it's nice if even other players play well as well, wouldn't it?
Everyone play well.
Yeah, everyone
play well.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice redemption stories on everybody?
Oh, did no one want a redemption story for you? Go on, tell us about when you went to France and they gave you the keys to the city. Come on.
I showed them.
You did.
I showed them.
You did a whole book. You did a whole book about it, for goodness sake. Shut up. Anyway, there we go. We'll round it up there. Everyone get along. Everyone have a nice time. Everybody play well. Nobody gets sacked. Yeah. That would be a wonderful way to end on.
Good luck.
Gregor, I think I've officially lost the plot. Time for a break. I think, but we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. As always, thank you to Tony Cascarino, to Johnny Northcroft, and to Gregor Robertson. We will be back next week. We'll see you then.